I created a new duelist who's a Skywalker. This is Paul. Before becoming a Radiant, Paul was a professional pole vaulter in Vietnam, and his signature ability is basically that, weaponized. When you activate Vault, Paul creates a long bamboo pole using radiant energy. Then, when you left click, he plants the bamboo directly into the ground and launches himself forward like a real pole vaulter. But here's a twist, this isn't just a simple dash like Jet. The distance actually depends on your momentum. Whenever you activate the ability, a charge bar appears on your screen, similar to Bridgestone. And the more distance you run forward before planting the pole, the more the bar fills up. At minimum charge, Paul only vaults 5 meters forward, that's around half the distance of Jet's dash. But at maximum charge, Paul launches himself a massive 15 meters, and reaching max charge takes around 2 seconds of actual running distance. So you can't just stare at a wall holding W to charge it, you need real movement, which creates a very interesting playstyle. Instead of instantly diving like Jet or Raze, Paul wants to stay slightly behind his teammates first, build momentum, then suddenly launch deep into the side. And because the distance is controllable, you can also use it aggressively for short peaks or quick repositioning. But obviously launching yourself alone into the deepest part of the site sounds like suicide, and that's exactly why his next ability exists. Paul's Q ability is called Bamboo Spear. When activated, Paul creates a radiant bamboo spear and equips it in his hand. Now, just like his Volt, this ability also has a charge mechanic. Holding left click charges the spear, increasing both its travel distance and the size of the area it creates. At full charge, the spear travels about as far as utilities like Viper or Gecko mollies, and the zone becomes roughly the same size of a controller smoke. But if you throw it instantly, it only lands a short distance away with a much smaller radius. Once the spear hits the ground, bamboo goes into the ground and then violently erupts upward from underneath the caught enemies. Enemies caught inside the zone take 30 damage, get launched slightly upward, and become exposed above cover. And when you combine that with Volt, Paul becomes terrifying at clearing deep angles. But there is still one major issue. Even if Paul successfully takes deep control, he is still isolated far away from his teammates. Normally, that's where a duelist dies, unless they can survive long enough for backup to arrive. Paul's C ability is called Inner Balance, and honestly, this might be the ability people argue about the most. When activated, Paul creates a bamboo staff and enters a meditative stance. A charge bar appears again, and while holding left click, Paul focuses completely on healing himself. The full meditation lasts 5 seconds, and each second he gets 20 HP healing, total 100 HP. During that time, Paul cannot move, cannot look around, cannot use weapons, but you can end it early anytime. And here's the important part. While meditating, Paul becomes immune to bullet damage. So yes, enemies can see him, they can shoot him, but the bullets won't stop the meditation. Now at first, this sounds insanely overpowered, but in reality, using it carelessly is incredibly dangerous, because the second the meditation ends, there is a weapon pull-out delay, meaning if Paul meditates alone inside enemy territory, opponents can simply wait for stance to finish and instantly kill him, which creates a really unique gameplay loop. Paul doesn't dive into the site to instantly frag everyone himself. Instead, he creates chaos. He launches deep into enemy space, forces attention onto himself, survives using meditation, and buys time for his teammates to flood in behind him. And if enemies ignore him to fight his team, Paul can cancel the meditation early and punish them immediately. But somehow, even this ability isn't the biggest thing messing with enemy aim. because his ultimate completely changes how players have to position their crosshairs. But before we get into Paul's ultimate, I wanted to quickly mention something. The artworks you see in these agent concept videos are fully commissioned from artists, and they honestly cost a lot to make. So if you enjoy these concepts and want to support more videos like this, you can subscribe and even become a channel member to unlock a bunch of cool perks. Paul's ultimate is called Stilt, and this is where the agent becomes completely insane. When activated, Paul instantly creates two massive bamboo stairs beneath himself and climbs onto them. From that moment onward, he walks around the map elevated 5 meters above the ground. That's roughly the height of Jet's updraft. Except unlike Jet, Paul doesn't fall back down. He just keeps walking at that height until the round ends. And this completely changes how both teams play the game. First, the advantages. Paul can see over many obstacles and watch deep areas from unexpected angles. He becomes fully immune to mollies and ground-based utility because technically his feet never touch the ground. And most importantly, enemies suddenly need to aim way higher than normal to fight him. But of course, Stilt also comes with huge drawbacks. You can't activate it if there is a ceiling directly above you. And once you are on the stilts, you can't move through low height areas or tight spaces. You also cannot crouch, jump, plant a spike, defuse, or use vault while the ultimate is active. Although you can still use the Bumble Spear at inner balance, and the ultimate lasts the entire round unless you manually deactivate it, which leads to Paul's craziest combo. You throw Bumble Spear into sight, launch yourself in with Vault, then immediately activate Stilt the moment you land. Now suddenly there is a giant enemy standing above everyone's crosshair, while completely immune to mollies, forcing defenders to constantly flick their aim vertically. And if things get dangerous, Paul can simply activate inner balance and become an even bigger distraction, while his team pushes in behind him. That's why this ultimate doesn't give Paul height, it fundamentally changes the way enemies fight. So this is Paul. Do you think he will be overpowered, weak, or actually balanced in Valorant? Let me know your ideas in the comments, and if you enjoyed this concept, don't forget to subscribe for more custom Valorant agents. Also, check out my agent concept playlist right here.